Federal agents have descended on Chicago by boat and by foot. And being from Chicago and actually having a bunch of friends still in Chicago and friends who work with me from Chicago. In fact, the biggest demographic that we have here for this show and for Timcast IRL is Chicago. Everybody's happy. We're all really happy. I hope this message gets out to many of the liberals. And while I certainly understand there are many liberals in Chicago who do not want Trump to deploy the National Guard or ICE into the city, I want everybody else to please share this on your social media so that I can tell you as a Chicagoan, as someone with friends and family still in Chicago, we are happy. And there are videos from people who are happy. And there's a video of someone just filming the feds walking in, and there's an old couple sitting down. They're like, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this. And so to all those liberals who want the crime and want the violence, the only thing I can say is over 100 years of Democrat rule in Chicago, and you've not solved any of the problems that we dealt with. Charlie Kirk was from Chicago. I know everyone in Chicago is saying, Tim, you was from the suburbs. I get it. We all from Chicago get it, because every time, I love this. We had someone on Timcast IRL once, and I was like, so where are you from? And she goes, oh, Chicago. And I was like, oh, so you're from Naperville. And she's like, yeah, how'd you know? And I was like, everybody's from Naperville. I'm from Chicago. And they always try to play this stupid game. This is what the left likes to do, to lie. They go, Tim's actually from the suburbs. Nope, I'm from the South Side. I am from the Garfield Ridge area, which is southwest. It's not the deep South Side. But we grew up famously in I grew up in the area that famously had the gang territory known as the LeClaire Courts, which they're beautifying. And the Democrat rule in the city said, hey, look, we have this black neighborhood, a lot of gangs there, drugs, violence. It's pretty bad. What should we do about it? Well, for like me and my friends and where we live, because we got a lot of cops and firefighters, the reason being is that it's a cheap area. And so all of these guys want to live near each other because the prices are low and it's safer. But we got these gangs. And so the idea was kind of like, hey, I know, what if we enforce the law? Unfortunately for all of us, Democrats were like, nah, you can't. It's racist. And so while we were plagued by all of these gangs in our areas, Democrats did nothing. They just lied. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why everyone kept voting for them. Well, I ended up leaving when I was, I think, 23. And it's a combination of reasons. But what I will say is the Democrat solution to the LeClaire Courts was to bulldoze it. And so I actually debated these libs, and I was like, is this what you want? Okay, here's what we've been offered up. Trump will send in law enforcement and shut down the crime, okay, and people can live in peace. Democrats will evict black people from their homes and bulldoze their houses and never bring them back. That's the Democrat plan. That's what sounds racist to me. Sounds to me, we take a look at this and look at this beautifully ethnically diverse group of federal law enforcement agents. Why, it appears to be a white man. There is a Latino or Asian. I don't know. He's ethnically ambiguous. There's a black man here. You see, people of all different backgrounds can recognize crime is bad, and we don't want crime in our city. So here's the story. I'm going to read you this from the Sun-Times. Sun-Times always ragged on for being liberal, but let's go. Actually, the first thing I'll do before I want to show you the videos. Here you go. Check this out. Chicagoans are thanking the feds.
We work for you.
Thank you. Look at these old ladies sitting down thanking police officers. These federal law enforcement guys. I was asking my buddy. I told the story a couple times. I asked my buddy. Here we go. Look at this. The federal takeover of Chicago. Look at these feds everywhere. Yeah, I'm for it. You know what I would do if I saw these guys? Look at them. Ooh, wearing masks and helmets. Oh, that guy's got a cowboy hat. Look at this one. You collect them all. Oh, that's the guy from the photo. He's got a cowboy hat on. Oh, look at that. I don't know. Is that a cowboy? Or is it just a hat for the sun? You know what I would do if I was walking past these guys? I'd be like, thanks, guys. And they'd wave to me. Yeah, I know. I grew up in Chicago, and I've had bad run-ins with cops. I've told these stories 1,000,001 times. And typically, you know what I thought when I saw cops walking down the street? Oh, thank God. I mean, it's wild to me. I don't know what universe these people live in. I've had in Chicago bad runs with cops. I have called the Chicago Police Department corrupt. They had a guy who would electrocute people into false confessions. I see these regular cops walking down the street. I'd be like, thanks, guys. You know why? You know why? You're a cop in Chicago, okay? And there are bad cops in Chicago. And I will call out every single one of them. We had some like scandal where some like off-duty cops beat up a barmaid. I say bartender, you might think guy. It was like a lady. Bad cops, lots of them. But a lot of these cops, and to a certain degree, even the ones you don't like, gangbangers just shoot. They have switches. They just spray. And so you're a cop walking down the street, man, that's a crummy job for a variety of reasons. First of all, it's tough to be a cop as it is. And I'm not defending bad cops, okay? Lock them up, all the bad cops. But, my dad told me this, because my dad was a firefighter. He told me this when I was younger. He's like, you don't want to be a cop. These guys, and this is the famous story of being a cop. You get crappy hours, you work who knows what. I mean, there's murder. And he's like, one day, you get a phone call about something annoying. You're at some woman's yelling and complaining about something, and you're like, why do I have to deal with this? And then the next thing you know, you get another call, you go respond, and it's a woman whose son's dead. And you got to deal with this, and they don't understand what you have to deal with. People don't get it, what these cops have to deal with, and it's pretty insane. I'm not going to excuse bad cops who take this, and because of how crazy things have been in their day, they're going to justify being bad to regular people. But that's not most cops. Look at these guys. Okay, we can zoom in a little bit. Look at these guys. Masks. Look at that gun. And I know for a fact I could walk up and be like, thank you, officers. I could shake their hand. And that's the craziest thing to me, because we grew up with this media. Look at this. We got cops on boats. Look at this one. Cops on boats. Patrolling the river. We grew up with media. Where? Hold on. There's a funny one. Where's the Benny Hill one? Do I have that over here? Yeah, here we go. I'll play this one in a second. We grew up with movies and stuff, and they were like, the stormtroopers are all bad. And if you're really stupid, these liberals are gonna be like, Tim's defending the stormtroopers. That proves it. No, I'm not defending the stormtroopers, and they're a fictional movie or whatever. But we grow up with all of this media that always tries to tell us that the organized law enforcement is bad, is evil. It's the empire. To be fair, we have a lot of shows that show the cops as good guys as well. It's back and forth. But what happens for these liberals is they see guys in uniform doing law enforcement, very specific law enforcement, and they're like, that's a bad thing no matter what. And I'm like, no, it isn't. You've got that Congressman Blaha, I think his name was, saying you must defy all these bad orders to the military. And I'm like, he goes, this is authoritarianism. No, it isn't. Deploying military or law enforcement is not authoritarianism. These laws have always existed. In fact, they've been worse. Like, you go back to the days of the Crown. The Third Amendment was put in place for a reason. They could take over your house. You want to talk about authoritarianism. Now, they're just law enforcement. That's all it is. Watch this. I gotta play this video for you guys. You want to tell me that we're supposed to be scared of law enforcement? I mean, no disrespect to these guys, because I am grateful that you are in Chicago, but watch this. See this guy right here?
Get him!
Get him!
What's that?
Gets away. What is this? They couldn't catch him. What is going on? Guys, I'm glad that law enforcement is there, because their presence alone will be a deterrent for these gangs and for these criminals. These guys, I believe, are Border Patrol. But the left, who are saying, like, it's authoritarianism and fascism. Oh, come on. These guys couldn't catch a single guy on a bike. I'm not saying they're bad at what they're doing. I'm saying they're going to provide a logistical and administrative support role in the city. Their presence is going to deter a lot of this crime. And I'm glad they did. And then we got this. I said, can someone add Benny Hill music? Well, this is where we get a bit more serious. Charlie Kirk urged Trump to save Chicago, President says at memorial service. And I'm glad he is. You know, Oh, that's the Benny Hill music. Right. Here we go. This is the Dylan Blaha guy running for Congress, and I think he's running in Illinois, isn't he? Yeah, he's running for Congress in Illinois 13. Let's figure out where that is. I think that's Chicago. No, it's not. It's Southern Illinois. I think that's Southern Illinois, right? Illinois 13th. Nikki Budzinski. Is he going to try and primary her? Yeah, it's oh, this is the fake district. This guy's running for office in the fake district. Take a look at this. You see this district right here? This district makes literally no. I wonder if they have the full map. No, probably not. This district is fake. It's a fake district that exists only through gerrymandering. So basically, you've got Champaign. I think you got Peoria and East St. Louis. Can we zoom in? Champaign, Decatur, Springfield. Why did I say Peoria? That was absolutely wrong. That's like a northern suburb. Champaign, Decatur, Springfield. These are major urban liberal strongholds, and they connected them with East St. Louis to make a district, and then the other district wraps around it. It is fake. They made a fake district so this guy can run. Well, here he is. He's telling people to disobey illegal orders. The implication, of course, is that he's basically saying what Trump is doing is illegal. All right. Well, let's see what the Sun-Times has to say. And I'm going to stress this once again. I am from Garfield Ridge, the Midway area of Chicago. I am sick and tired of the crime. I am, and for that reason, there were others, but that was a major reason I decided to get out of the city. I don't want to live here. I want to go somewhere else. Dozens of federal agents took individuals into custody during a winding patrol Sunday through downtown Chicago. The agents, clad in military-style fatigues, roamed past some of Chicago's most well-known landmarks. Gregory Bavino, commander-at-large of the force, contrasted the people being arrested with a white WBEZ reporter, saying agents consider a person's appearance before taking them into custody. That is a gross mischaracterization, of course. You know, there's many different factors that go into something like that. It would be agent experience, intelligence that indicates that there are illegal aliens in particular in a place or location. Then obviously, the particular characteristics of an individual, how they look. How do they look compared to, say, you? He said to the reporter, a tall, middle-aged man of Anglo descent. Do you see how he didn't say race? And he's likely making a reference to clothing, professional behavior. Like if there was a Latino-looking guy carrying a camera filming, they're going to be like, I don't know. But if there is somebody who is fitting a profile of these jobs that are operating illegally, notably a lot of like DoorDash delivery guys, yeah, profiling is going to play a role. Now, I'm going to say this too. We live in this ridiculous world where you have Democrats being like, profiling is wrong. Well, how do you identify people you're looking for who have committed crimes, right? Like when we put on an APB saying it's a black male, therein lies the point. No one should be singled out and targeted based on race or ethnicity. That should not be the underlying probable cause factor. And so if that's what they're doing, I got no problem saying they should not be doing that. But you take a look at Zimmerman. George Zimmerman was asked about the race of Trayvon Martin, and he said, I think he's black. And what happens? The media cuts out the question from dispatch. So he goes, there's a guy who looks suspicious. I think he's black. As if to imply he was saying the suspicion was the blackness of being black. That's the lie they're playing. The dude is not just talking about the race of an individual, but I'm sure that is a factor where he's going to be like, the likelihood of a tall, blonde, blue-eyed dude for being an illegal immigrant is much, much lower than a Latino guy. That should not be ever the underlying principle for why you're going after somebody. So when I see this video, and I will call this out, the reason why I mock these guys for chasing this guy on the bike, we don't know exactly what happened, but you can see the guy on the bike, he grabs something off the ground. And then they say, get him. I don't know what he's grabbing. It looks like a phone or something. They're like, get him. So I don't know what happened or why they decided to run after this guy. Seems pretty weird. So we do not want that. And I got no problem calling that out. Now, I will also say this. Are we better off with federal law enforcement chasing after food delivery guys on bikes for some reason? We don't know why, so I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. Maybe the guy was committing a crime. Maybe he wasn't. Can't really defend or condemn anybody. Condemn or condone. I would prefer this over what Chicago's like. People don't understand. They don't understand that there's kids with guns and they just spray. Pff, you'll be walking down the street and you're like, what was that? Gunshots going off. And I'm a gun guy. But these people fire, like you don't fire in a city. So I'm going to say this for me and my friends. Look at this one. Look at this one. Some passerby shouted at agents, telling them to go home and say, ICE sucks. Others yelled, thank you. And others said, real patriotic guys, real patriotic. People chanted, 2 dozen protesters, ICE go home. Around 2 p.m., Bavino yelled, we got a runner. And local agents in a sprint ended with the detention of a man on Superior Street. The man, surrounded by about 2 dozen agents, was handcuffed and driven away. Asked why agents arrested the man they'd run after, Bavino would not specify anything other than the man didn't resemble the white reporter. Oh, yeah. He exhibited articulable facts that made us take a look, and then we took a look and our suspicions were proven true. It does appear right now he's an illegal alien. That's still an ongoing federal investigation, so I'll get back to you on exactly what that is once we determine all those facts. Maybe he profiled the guy. He's like, oh, it's a Latino guy riding a bike. Let's grab him. Maybe they just said, can I see your ID, sir? Here's the thing for me that I'm gonna say this. I have no problem saying this. I'm a libertarian-leaning guy. I complain on Timcast IRL. I don't want cops in masks patrolling our streets. I don't want to live that way. It's unfortunate we've come to this position. That does not inherently mean everything they do is wrong. I do not live in this moralistic child world where the man in uniform is the evil villain no matter what. So what I will say is that sometimes I don't believe that they're framing this fairly. I don't like that the man would be stopping someone and asking for papers, please. However, you ask me what world I want to live in. And I've made this point many times. I see these guys. I'll put it like this. I was on a bus from San Diego to LA when I was 23. And I don't know. What do I look like, I guess? I don't, you ask me. CBP they stop our bus in the middle of the highway and they board. And they start asking people questions. And the guy comes up to me and he goes, you got ID? He's like, ID, please? And I was like, yeah. And I pull out my ID, hand it to him. And he's like, where are you from? I was like, Chicago. He's like, where are you going? I was like, going to Los Angeles. And he goes, what's your favorite baseball team? And I said, honestly, I'm not a baseball guy, but I'm supposed to say White Sox, right? And he goes, have a good trip. I didn't care. It was this minimal of interactions. And I'm not playing this stupid auditor game. I'm going to be like, you can't ask me those questions. I'm an American citizen. I don't have to say anything to you. I get why he's doing it. They are criminals. And it's crazy to me that people try to quote this Ben Franklin thing of those who would give up freedom, a little, would give up their essential liberties for a little temporary security, deserve neither. And I'm like, dude, the guy asked me for like an ID. It's like 2 seconds. And I could have, why would I play stupid games? I just don't understand this. It's not a big deal. He didn't come up to me and say, time to go to the gulag. He was just like, you have your ID? I was like, yeah, I got a driver's license. Here you go. I don't care. Now, I understand the libertarians will argue sometimes cops frame you and bad things happen, but that does not mean that anything that the guy did impaired or infringed upon my rights. I've seen these videos where the cops are like, can I see your ID? And they're like, no. And I'm like, in certain circumstances, I totally understand this. Right? There's a video where a guy is like working at a garage and the cops come up and they're like, who are you? And he's like, I work here. And they're like, prove it. And he's like, what? And so I can certainly understand when the cops get to that point. Look, I don't got to give you my ID in certain. I'm walking down the street in Chicago. I know what it's like, how bad it can be. I see these guys and they're like, hey, how's it going? I'll be like, how's it going there, officer? And they'll be like, just checking to make sure everything's all right. You got some ID on you? I'll be like, what seems to be the problem? And they'll say, we just want to check to make sure. I'm like, yeah, sure, here you go. Here's my ID. And I know that people are going to be like, you're a bootlicker. What? Dude, what do you think is going to happen? They're not going to deport me. I'm not going to get around. The worst case scenario is I got a gangbanger driving his car around and he starts opening fire in my neighborhood. And you ask me, pick and choose 100 years of Democrat rule with gangs, corrupt cops, and you're telling me I'm supposed to complain about some federal agent being like, can I see your ID? I'll be like, nah, here you go, man. And then you know what I'm going to say to the guy? I'm going to be like, brother, you have no idea what it means to me that you are here in our city doing what you are doing to make sure that people can live and be safe. Because we've had such insane crime. And I'll say this to each and every one of these cops. They can stop me. I'll be like, here's my ID. Please do whatever you can to make this place safe. I don't want to have to live this way. I don't want to have U.S. Border Patrol cops walking down my street asking for IDs. But what am I supposed to say? You get out of here. No, the worst thing is, I was driving got off on Independence off 290 with my brother, and a guy just points a gun at a car and shoots at us. And I don't know why. That's Chicago. High school fights, people pull out guns, shoot at each other. Don't know why. And you want me to complain about this? Guys, I will tell you easily, I do not want masked cops, feds, walking around demanding my ID. But when I see these guys, I can say, We don't want to live this way, but thank God they're here now. Doesn't that suck? You know whose fault it is? It's not the law enforcement guys or Trump for this happening. The Democrats have had control for 100 years, and look where we are. You get the point, man. I could talk about this for 27 years. I could talk about this forever. We had Christian Maxwell. She's running for Congress as a Republican in a deep blue district. Bless her heart. I hope she wins. It's a long shot. But we need people of good standing who care about family, who care about this country, to stand up and do the right thing in the face of this crisis. And so what do I see here with these feds? I see this fake complaint. Chicago Sun-Times, where were you when gangbangers were going into our park every day and mugging us and stealing from us? My friend, teenager, 16, walking down the street, and three guys, what they do, it's a flash, what do you call a flash mugging? They're walking on the street, they walk up to you, and they just frisk you down real quick, take all your stuff, and then they break. And you're like, what just happened? Your wallet, your phone, your watch, whatever it is, gone. Where were you? I had the craziest story. Gangbangers broke into my house when I was a kid, stole my Game Shark. Actually, I was borrowing the Game Shark from James. So they didn't take the PlayStation. I don't know why they didn't take the PlayStation. Only the Game Shark. Maybe they couldn't carry. They'd stolen other stuff too. Maybe they took what they can carry. Wanted the Game Shark. Broken through the window. Why? This is what it's like living on the south side of Chicago. It's crazy. Our car got stolen right out of the garage. That's the way. And then they torched it. Family car got stolen. Cops found it torched in a parking lot. They stole everything from it, took out the radios and everything, and then set the whole thing on fire. And so I'll tell you this. I asked my buddy, what if these guys were walking down by the park? Would you? What? Is it a joke? No, I'll say it one last time, and then I'll wrap it up. Smash the like button, share the show, and all that stuff. Follow me on X and Instagram. I don't want to see masked guys walking down the street, profiling anybody or anything like that. I don't want to have to be stopped by a random cop and be like, give me your ID. And then be like, what is this all about? Why are you hassling me? Well, the reality is I know why. I see these guys and they say, how's it going there, sir? You got ID on you? I'd be like, yes, sir, I do. And I will give it to them and I will say, guys, this city is corrupt in a lot of ways. And it's about time someone came in to actually do the job. So I'm glad they're here. And you know what I'm going to tell you? There's a lot of arguments in the morality and philosophy of liberty versus authority and security. It is not inherent that having law enforcement patrol the streets makes you unsafe or the target of authoritarianism. It is if the cops are bad cops. And that is a problem because who watches the watchman? For now, welcome to the rock and the hard place. I'm not happy we live this way. I do not want, I'll say it again, these cops to be here. But right now, I'm glad they are. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show, all that good stuff. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.